Hello, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about accentuating emotional power in a painting with the compositional choices that we make. So here I'm pulling from a rectangular photo reference, but I'm actually painting it on a square surface. So I've changed the aspect ratios entirely. One of the reasons I've done that is to size the bird a little differently without giving any ground on the negative space. And by negative space, I mean the background. So in the photo reference, the bird is so small that it feels insignificant to me. And I was worried that viewers wouldn't be able to emotionally engage with the bird, or in a much worse way, that they would feel the negative space was almost oppressive and make it a very negative painting. So in this case, I chose a square format, and in this moment, I'm just finding the exact bullseye center of the panel that I'm working on. Because I knew I wanted to elevate the bird into the upper left quadrant. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to balance the bird to some degree with the negative space that was going to be surrounding him. Looking at that photo reference again and knowing how small the bird is, I didn't want to size the bird too small. So I'm just using my finger to give a relative size of how big I want the bird to be in this composition. Because I also don't want to make it too big. If I make the bird too big in this space, I'm going to shrink the negative space around him, and I'm going to compromise the feeling of a loneliness. And I didn't want to do that. And again, we know what happens if I make him too small. It just makes him insignificant and accentuates the loneliness too much. So I wanted to find a spatial size for him that would allow the viewer to visually connect with him, emotionally connect with him, but sort of leave them wanting more, almost like I would hopefully create the feeling in a viewer like, oh, why I would just wish that bird was just a little bit bigger. And if they end up feeling that way, then I've really made that loneliness come across in this image. And one of the things that helped me with it was just the format, the square shape. I'm painting a solo single object here. And when you put a single object in a painting on a square format, you can often make the viewer uncomfortable, because no matter where you put that object, you're going to surround it with a lot of negative space. And a lot of people don't like that. So this played as a strength in my concept. It made this painting do a lot of the work for me, just because of the format. As I flesh out the background here, I think you can see quite readily how swallowed up by this space that little shape actually is. So if you get emotional about it, you can feel the loneliness. And I wanted the bird to definitely feel solitary, but I didn't want it to feel weak or insignificant. So the size of him was very important. And it just so happened that the length of my finger worked as a good size for this one. Doesn't always work out that way, or you just sometimes have to guess. But in this case, it worked out quite well. And as I'm blurring out the background here, one of the things that I really like is it gives me the emotional feeling of that object now a lot more strongly. There's a lot less visual chaos, and I can just really rest in the shapes and the way they're relating to each other. And I definitely get a feeling of loneliness. Now, I can utterly change this. Let's put the bird a little bit lower. I'll throw up this little circle here. So just imagine that that's where I'm painting the bird right now. I have utterly changed the emotional context of this image. I've changed nothing else. It's the same bird. The bird is actually the same size. The board is the same. It's still square. Nothing has changed except the location of the bird itself. And even with that one change, this is an entirely different story. Now we've got, for me, a much more sad story. This is maybe an unpopular bird. None of the other birds want to hang out with him, and it's a much more lonely feeling. And that's not the story I want to tell, so let's get the circle out of there. And as soon as I can focus back on the bird that I'm painting now, the circle's gone, I automatically feel more optimistic. I feel like this is maybe a bit more of a plucky bird who has chosen to be alone. He's just maybe adventuring on his own. Now he's lonely by virtue of the fact that he's literally utterly alone and solitary. but it's maybe not quite as oppressive as it was a moment ago with that, where that red circle was. Now I could also blow the bird up, and I could, if I made him too big in the canvas, or the board I should say, then the viewer is going to feel like their personal space is being challenged, and they're going to want to step back and not engage with the bird. So that's a whole other story there then. If I put the bird on a different location, I'm going to cause different feelings. But also, as we move forward into this concept, I can change the emotional context through the colors, the temperatures of the colors. If I want to make it more somber, I can go into cool temperatures, darker values. If I want to make him really sunny, bright, optimistic little bird, and fight that negative space, I can just explode some really warm, exciting, vibrant colors in there, and I'll create different emotional contexts every step of the way. And that all relates to the compositional structure and the nuance of that composition. So that's the main point I wanted to make with this video. As a secondary point, and it might just be personal to me, but I'm hoping you'll all relate to it as well, is when I'm in the studio especially, I like to throw these sort of aspect ratio changes at myself, or shake up my reference situation a little bit, because I'm in serious danger as an artist of going on to a bit of a meditative autopilot, particularly in the studio, as I say, because I have the luxury of time on my side. I'm feeling a little more restful and comfortable, and I'm not dealing with bugs or excessive heat or excessive cold, etc., etc. So I'm just in a much more comfortable place. And if I'm just replicating the spatial relationships of any given photo reference, sometimes I just start to not doze out by any means, but I definitely am not sharp. And I have a fundamental belief that whatever an artist is feeling and experiencing when they're painting is going to come through very strongly in their painting. So if I'm feeling a little bit too comfortable and a little bit meditative, a little bit autopilot-y, I think that's going to show in the painting. But if I'm on the edge of my seat and I'm excited and I'm emotionally engaged in what I'm doing, I think that's going to show in the painting as well. So I try to shake up any kind of my little issues, any complacency that I might have as an artist. I shake it up with as many challenges as I can. That's one of the reasons I like challenging myself as much as I do in the skill base of painting. I throw a lot of drawing challenges at myself. I throw a lot of different aspects of myself that make this even more organic or improvisational, or whatever term you'd like to use. And it's for that specific purpose of really making me less comfortable, because that keeps me more attentive and more engaged and more aware of every decision that I'm making. And I want every decision I make in the painting to refer back and assist that emotional theme that I have decided that the painting will have as its base. And so if you're like me, hopefully that'll be useful to you. I'll speed this up now to a regular timeline, and that's how we'll finish this one out. So thank you for joining me. And if you like the direction that I'm going with the videos, please hit the like button for me, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to be notified of future videos when I release them, ring that bell too. And other than that, just stay safe, stay creative always, put a ton of miles on your brush, because that is the best way to learn. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.